everyone. I just realized today I never really did an introductory video. The only video I really did was my library tour. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a little introductory video today. So my name's Jenny. Obviously I go by the Bookish Knight here on YouTube. I get that from the Batman comics because I'm a huge fan of comics. I'm also a huge fan of manga. As you can see, I've got the shelf behind me that's manga. And so yeah, I'm just going to go through kind of what I read and how I read, where I get my books. So to start out with, what I read pretty much anything. I read manga, I read comics, I read romance, I read action, I read, adult, I read young adult, I read middle grade, I read kids. It's kind of just basically whatever sounds good to me. One good example is I read Edward and Edwina the Emu, which were two children's picture books. I like emus. I saw that, so I was like, this will be, a fun little kind of thing to pick up. So, it's kind of how I decide on books. And then as for my reading habits, I usually read at least 2 to 3 books at once. I will usually have, at least one of them will be a physical book. And I try to keep them kind of different. Like I'll have one that's a fantasy, one that's more contemporary, and then like a nonfiction or maybe short story. And then I do read physical books, ebooks, and I do listen to audiobooks. I usually have at least one audiobook going. I try to only do one at a time because I don't like switching back and forth from audiobooks. But I listen to that on my way to work. And if I'm going out shopping on my own, listen to it on the ride there and back. And usually while I'm in the store as well. And so then for where I get my books, I go to Barnes & Nobles and Second & Charles to get new books. Second & Charles, I like it, also has used books. And they're all gently used. There's no writing in them. There's, no torn pages or anything like that. And you can bring books that you're not interested in that you have, and they'll buy them from you and give you store credit, so I do like that. Then, of course, I go to my library, and I get physical books, and then I also use the Hoopla app on my Kindle, and Hoopla gives you 10 borrows a month. You just have to put in what state and county and your library card number, and then you can borrow 10 books a month. I mostly use that for comics because I also use Overdrive and Libby, and they don't have as many comics. And then Overdrive is also on my Kindle. They are getting ready to do away with that, and it will be taken over by Libby, which is actually Libby by Overdrive. And then I use those for the audiobooks that I borrow from the library. I only really borrow the digital library books. And then I have the Libby app on my phone. That way it's a little easier to take while I'm traveling than the Kindle, to bring in my vehicle while I'm driving. And then, of course, having the Kindle, I use the Kindle to read. I use Audible on that as well for some audiobooks. And then on my phone, I also have an app called Shonen Jump, and that is a manga app. And shonen is basically a category for, more geared towards, younger teenage boys. So it's stuff like One Piece, Bleach, that, the characters are still in high school, and there's usually, some sort of like battles going on, and it's very battle centric. There are a few on there that's what's called seinen, which is geared more towards, older men, like, in their 20s at least. And it's got more character development and more of like that moral gray area. And so yeah, I really like that app. And it is $2.11 a month. And every day you can read 100 chapters. And I've never gone over that. I think the most I've read in a day has been like 80. And the nice thing is it's not like, okay, I opened the app at 4 p.m. today. So from 4 p.m. today to 4 p.m. tomorrow, I can only read 100 chapters. It resets every day at midnight. So, if you're somebody like me who's a night owl, you can kind of wait until later to start reading on the app. And then by the time you reach your 100 chapters, it'll be midnight and you can just continue on. And they have all sorts of series. I think I mentioned they have Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, Rosario Vampire, Claymore, Tokyo Ghoul, Chainsaw Man, We Never Learn, Nisekoi False Love, and tons and tons more. I want to say there's probably at least 150, 200 series on there. And they did recently say that they're going to expand, and they have added a few new series. And they're thinking about expanding a lot further, doing a lot more genres. And so yeah, that's really cool. And then, like I said, other than mangas that I'm a little picky with, because I feel like some of the long ones can get repetitive. There's not many series that I drop. And, I tend to be a completionist when it comes to series. And when it comes to books, so I very rarely DNF. And on my Goodreads account, I did finally make a DNF shelf, just so that, I could give myself kind of that permission that if I didn't like the book and I know it's not something that I'm just not in the mood, I'll like it later, that I can kind of put it on there and just be like, okay, I'm done with it. And I did do that with a few of the Harlequin Presents romances, because I tend to not like contemporary romance a whole lot. Like, I don't mind it, but I like to have some sort of other plot. So I usually go for like romantic suspense, paranormal romance. And don't get me wrong, I have like some contemporaries. But unfortunately, the Harlequin Presents, the way they're written, I just don't care for them. And yeah, so that's pretty much me. And I'm also open to any recommendations of any books you think I would like, any videos you would like to see. I watch a lot of anime and movies. Any anime or movies you think I might like, feel free to let me know. And I definitely look forward to getting to chat with people and find more bookish friends.